In this episode of Photoshop, we're going to talk about layers and the general function and flow of using layers in Photoshop. Layers is the groundwork or the very basics of Photoshop. If you don't understand how to work with layers, you won't be able to move anywhere in Photoshop or get anything done. What do I mean by layers? I mean anything that you put into Photoshop, anything you copy into it, anything you import, you paste, you open, is a layer. And Photoshop documents can have anything from 1 to 2 layers all the way up to, it could have 50 layers, all intricate with subfolders. They can get pretty hectic, but for now we're just going to stick with the basics. I've got this document opened, and it's got 7 different layers in it, and I've only got 3 visible right now. The 3 that are visible are the background picture, this white fill, and this blue outline. The reason I don't have the rest selected is I have been working with these 3 layers and adjusting them, and I didn't want the others in the way. Now, the reason that only these 3 are visible and the other 4 aren't is that I have the view, or the eyeball as I like to call it, selected. It indicates visibility. You click the eyeball right next to a layer, it can hide it or make it visible. So this red bar right here, I click the eyeball, it's now visible. I declick it. Pretty basic. So the other thing you can do is you can click and drag down, and you can select 3 layers at once, or multiple layers at once, not just 3. And it's a quick, easy, painless way to make multiple layers visible. Also, you can hide every single layer that way and have nothing on the screen. But for now, I want everything except for the red bar visible. Now we're going to go over layer ordering, or stacking. Layers stack from top to bottom, and that is the way that we view the screen. So when you're looking at it, imagine that Hank Williams is the top layer. It is on top of everything else. So when I drag it around, it goes over everything else. Everything else is behind it. The bottom is the interviewee picture. So when I drag him, he's moved behind everything else. He doesn't go over anything. And then so on and so forth. White, the blue, local singer. If I drag local singer, it goes over everything else except for Hank Williams. Now let's say that I have the website here underneath the white and the blue. It's not visible. And I want to have it visible above the 2. It's below it. The only thing you have to do is you have to click on the layer and drag it above, and then there it is. And then you can move it around over the layer depending upon where you want it. So that's literally how basic and easy it is. That's moving layers. There's not much to it. The only other thing that you really need to know when it comes to the layers at this moment is both opacity and locking layers. Locking layers, the first thing you need to know is that only time you want to lock a layer is when you are done with it, or you don't want to screw it up, because there's multiple times when you can be working in After Effects and you have something selected and then you accidentally select the wrong layer and you screw everything up. So let's say I have the paintbrush selected and I want to draw blue on the interviewee, but I accidentally had the blue layer itself selected. I just drew blue all over the blue layer instead of the interviewee. So to prevent something like that from happening, I will select the blue layer since I'm done with it and lock it. It's now safe. Nothing can happen. As you can see, I try to paint on that layer. It won't allow me. The only way to be able to paint on it again, unlock the layer. The last thing you need to know with layers is opacity, and that's right up at the very top. Opacity is basically how visible a layer is. As you can see, when I drag the bar down, it completely disappears. 50%, this is 50% visible, 100% fully visible. That's just adding in effects later on, depending upon if you want to mask a layer partially over another image. So that's working with layers. There's more to it, but for now we're just going to stick with the basics. So have at it and enjoy.